Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I'm so glad you're here. I want to start this one off and say Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for everything. Thank you for just the most incredible 2023. I cannot wrap my head around all that it has brought, especially bringing you into my life. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you. I truly am. And I'm so optimistic about 2024 and I'm so hopeful about what the year will bring. Again, I couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So I thought as a end of 2023, beginning of 2024 treat, I would put together a compilation of some of the I wouldn't say greatest hits, I'd say greatest blunders of the Dastardly Duo. So I'm going to show you just my favorite things they've done this past year. And you got to take that with a grain of salt. Favorite things, I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but you know what I mean? The funniest things I've found that they've done in the last year. So, things that include like the near catastrophic car chase and how poorly they handled the Harlem school of it all, how poorly they handled Invictus. Do you see the theme here? They handle everything terribly. They do the wrong thing every single time. Just everything. I was starting off with Spare, So in no particular order, I hope you enjoyed this compilation of the Grifter's worst hits. The Grifter's greatest hits, perhaps. But whatever it is, it's brought me you guys, and that is what I'm so thankful for. I'm just very reflective of this year, and how much the channel's grown. And again, it's because of each and every one of you. So thank you for that. I really, truly wish you all the happiest new year, the best 2024. And I can't wait to see what it brings for us all. So thank you for being here. Now let's get into this and take a look. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we got a lot to talk about. Buckle up for this one. Yeah, it has to do with cars too. That's why I said buckle up. But seriously, so much insanity coming out of the Sussex camp today. We have got to talk about it. I can't even believe it. But before we do, I want my co-host to say hi. Say hi, co-host.
Hello, this is Jay, also known as Dr. Bad Vibes. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch. And I came down to talk about the Duke and Duchess of Hazzard. Sounds like they were in a wild car chase.
Yeah, so I did a video, which you can definitely go back and check out. It went up earlier today, all about the stupid gold dress moment, sponsored by Hertz, that they had accepting a BS award. What else is new, right? Now we need to talk about the nonsense that apparently went down after the event. You guys, I just can't even with these two. We smell so much BS, and we're here to break it all down for you. So they're in New York City for this BS award, and apparently they were involved in a, quote, near catastrophic car chase while in New York City. A spokesman claims, you guys, this has come from the Daily Mail. We have got to talk about this. So as you know, as I talked about, they went to that stupid award last night. You can watch my video on that. Okay. So much weird stuff is coming out that we have to talk about. So apparently after the event, they got into a blacked out SUV, whatever this big black car here. Okay. And it's being reported that they switched to a taxi cab. We'll get into that, but people are thinking that what they did was much like they did with Doria, drop her off 2 blocks before the wedding venue so she's not in the photographs. They had a taxi waiting 2 blocks from this venue so that they could hop into that. And they're claiming that they got chased around for 2 hours in New York.
So the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who I will now call the Duke and Duchess of Hazzard because the car chase is all I can think of, were involved in a quote-unquote near catastrophic car chase while being followed by paparazzi in New York, the couple's spokesperson said. They were in the city on Tuesday with Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, for an event at which the Duchess received an award that totally wasn't paid for. The three of them are said to have been subjected to a quote-unquote relentless pursuit involving half a dozen blacked-out vehicles. All right. So I've been to New York twice, so I'm clearly an expert. There are hired drivers everywhere. Every vehicle is a blacked-out SUV. Also, it looks like they got out of their own blacked out SUVs into a cab, and presumably that was their security. So they were probably followed home by said SUVs. So, uh, one, that, were they being chased by their own people? Two, they're in New York. What kind of it's not 1980s movies. What kind of car chase can you get in New York? A 2-hour car chase, maybe bumper to bumper, 5 miles an hour peak speed for like 4 blocks. I mean, that's probably what the car chase was, if it even happened. I mean, it all just reeks of BS. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to, feign more danger for security help. I don't know. Or more likely, maybe Harry was turned around, saw his reflection in the window, and he's like, "Hey, quit following me."
I think it was Hertz Rent-A-Car saying, hey, come back. You forgot to mark if you want the insurance or not. You forgot to make sure that you have a full tank of gas. So, yeah, none of it makes any sense. As per usual with these two, they're claiming that it was a 2-hour, nearly catastrophic car chase. I'm sorry, define nearly catastrophic, because anything can be nearly catastrophic, right? You could sneeze the wrong way and have a stroke. So your sneeze could be nearly catastrophic. That's just the most BS thing I've ever heard. So their spokesperson is saying that, it was at the car chase at the hands of they said a ring of highly aggressive paparazzi. Quote, this relentless pursuit lasting over 2 hours resulted in multiple near collisions involving other drivers on the road, pedestrians, and 2 NYPD officers. Oh, don't worry. The NYPD has just spoken up and said, not what happened. We'll get into that. But I just want you to think about that. Just all these near misses, you guys. It's a big story for them. It lasted 2 hours with almost near catastrophic near misses and almost got people hurt. What?
The other thing that occurred to me is it's speculated in most cases that she calls the paparazzi on herself. So if any of this were true, that she used some monkey paw wish where it summoned like the Hells Angels paparazzi and they came up and like snarling and using old-timey flashbulbs with gunpowder running down the street with them. Probably not, but that's what I like to imagine.
That is funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, she keeps using backgrid, I think it is, that they're saying, where you basically dial a pop on yourself. And I believe that's what the Twitter sleuths were pointing out, is they believe it was backgrid that was taking some pictures of them. But yeah, the whole thing is crazy. I mean, it's just crazy because they're said to have arrived with all these blacked out SUVs. And now suddenly, as they left, again in blacked out SUVs, 2 blocks later, they switched to taxi cabs and they claim they're being followed by blacked out SUVs. Anybody else find this so completely fishy? You know what's funny? I told Jay this story before he knew what was going on. I said, they claimed they were chased by somebody. Who do you think they were chased by? Jay, tell him. He didn't even hesitate. He just had an answer ready to go.
Immediately, my first thought was the IRS, because taxes have just been filed. Archwell's probably being looked at, and they're just like, what? And for probably for everybody that's not aware, that is not how the IRS actually looks. It does in my mind, but that's a wrestler from the 90s in the WWF that the owner used to make fun of the actual IRS because he got in trouble because he's a psychopath. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not the paparazzi. We were kind of talking about it. I mean, I'm sure people were trying to get photos. I mean, photos sell. We're well aware of that. The photos we've seen do not indicate any kind of high speeds. It looks like typical New York bumper to bumper BS. So people may have been running up to the car, taking photos, maybe holding up traffic in the crosswalks or jaywalking in front of the cab. Cab driver definitely doesn't look in fear of anything, unless maybe the meter wasn't running.
And see, even here we have a photo of Harry with his phone out. I think that dum-dum just has it on selfie mode and he doesn't realize it. And he's like, oh, a guy with red hair is following us. He's such an idiot. Okay, but yeah, so they're claiming that it lasted for 2 hours. It was nearly catastrophic. I just I'm tripping over that language, you guys. I really am. I mean, it's just so them. Okay. But let me tell you what's happened since this nearly catastrophic. I had a nearly catastrophic run to Publix this morning. They ran out of my sweet tea. It was nearly catastrophic. I mean, what? So I was jumping on Twitter to see what Twitter was saying about all this. They were calling BS on this as well. I found this guy, Cameron Walker. He's a royal correspondent with GB News. And he was reporting on this initially that, it was a relentless pursuit. By the way, interesting that they didn't put this story out last night when it supposedly happened. They like to do that. They like to wait till after an event. So that way things can't exactly be verified the right way. Do you know what I'm saying? Interesting, right? Anyway, so they put it out today. It's nearly catastrophic. Well, Cameron reports there was an update from the NYPD. So Cameron says, update from NYPD, quote, on Wednesday evening, May 16th, the NYPD assisted the private security team protecting the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Of course, they have to use their titles even in this. There were numerous photographers that made their transport challenging. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex arrived at their destination and were no reported collisions, summonses, injuries, or arrests in regard. One version of events is slightly more dramatic than the other. Yep, so Jay, I think you called it. It sounds like there were, one or two photographers trying to get pictures. No big deal. No arrests were made. It may have slowed down traffic a little bit, but, of course, these three, I'm including Dory in this because she's taking part in it too. She goes along with whatever Maggie Poo says. And so these three are claiming, nearly catastrophic. Whereas the NYPD was like, it's a little annoying. I mean, of course they're going to play victim on this, right?
So unlike the real true royalty, the Dukes of Hazzard, their car chase is just, it's just this Duke and Duchess in quotations, trying to make their way the only way they know how, which is just a bit more than the crown will allow. Google it. So, yeah, he's just trying to get King Pa to pay for security. Probably not going to work. I'm sure they have people that can think and see things. And that's not even enough. The night didn't end here. The night's still young.
Yeah, before we transition to the next story, because yes, there is another story that happened supposedly last night as well. I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. It just goes back to the more they claim, security, we need security, the more they can try to pull at King Charles's heartstrings, purse strings, whatever it is, and try to get more money out of him, would be my guess. I still can't understand it's taking up too much real estate in my brain. So in the comments, let me know what you think was going on. Why would they get in a black car for a couple of blocks and then get in a cab? Seriously, what is that? Money saving? What is that? Appearances? What's going on with that? I think that's just so bizarre. If you're really worried about your security, remember he always says we fly private because it's too big of a security risk. Are you riding around in a yellow cab in New York City? Probably not, It just, none of it makes any sense. I don't even know why I'm trying to make it make sense at this point. But let's pretend like they're telling the truth and they got chased for 2 hours in New York City. Why were there not phone calls to 911? Why was there not action on behalf of the bodyguards? Whatever. Again, doesn't make any sense. Like Jay said, it's in New York. If you haven't been, it's usually, in my experience, my limited experience, it's bumper to bumper. So you can't move very fast if you're in the city. And if you're outside the city, where are you driving to? Buffalo? I mean, what, did you want to go see Niagara Falls? What's going on? I feel like I'm losing my mind with these two, seriously. Okay, but if this wasn't enough, something else is being reported from last night. Jay, why don't you tell everybody what else is going on? Because they don't feel like they're getting enough attention while asking for privacy.
Yes, but wait, there's more. Quote-unquote stalker is arrested lurking outside Harry and Meghan's Montecito mansion in the middle of the night after the security staff placed him under a citizen's arrest. So the details are vague. Sounds like the guy may have driven cross-country, ?
Like that astronaut?
Yeah. I wonder if he wore a diaper. Or it is, it is L.A., somebody may have been, Seth Rogen was famously like, oh yeah, if you park a car out there, it's going to get broken into.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what it could have been. It could have been somebody torn up on whatever substance and ended up in the wrong place. But it sounds like he was arrested and by the actual police later and under misdemeanor stalking charges. So I don't know what the difference is. I mean, obviously misdemeanor is not that serious. So who knows what it was? It doesn't sound like it was that big of a deal. May not even be anything. Just weird how all of this lines up at the same time. It's like I wonder what negative news stories about to come out that they're trying to deflect. That was my first thought. Maybe not. Maybe they just want security money. I don't know. One or the other.
Yeah, that whole thing is weird. There's not really much information. They alluded to the guy might be, I don't know, mentally, what's the correct word here? Disturbed, confused. We're not sure. Could have been Harry's dealer. Who knows? But the details are very vague. It sounds like the guy wandered up to the property. I don't even think he was arrested on the property. I think he was just getting too close and was clearly not all the way there. So they did a citizen's arrest, it sounds like. And like Jay said, it was a misdemeanor. And he was released, I think, with bail. It doesn't matter. It's just interesting timing that the same night that they had a harrowing 2-hour chase with paparazzi, again, I'm using quotation marks on that one, and the same night that they're, showing up like this to accept a BS award, somebody's trying to get into their home. I mean, I think Jay's right. I do think it's to get more money from King Pa, as Jay would say. But I really do wonder. I didn't think about that until he said it. I wonder, is there more news about to come out? Because this is a classic thing that celebs do, right? They'll put out news stories or try to get attention over here while something else is actually going on. And I wonder. But then I think also she just signed with that new, are they a PR company, management company, I think it is. I wonder if it has something to do with that. Like they're just trying to get their names out there a whole bunch. I don't know. Whatever it is, they continue to be a train wreck, and it's kind of hilarious to watch. So I'm sure more news will come out about these two. And, your two, as in Jen and Jay, will be here to talk about it. You guys, we need to talk more about this nonsense. So much going on. So much more has come out. So much to discuss. And it's all completely ridiculous. So I'm here for it. This has taken up so much space in my brain, and you guys have been so wonderful in the comments, providing so much insight as to what's actually happening, and so many interesting points that I felt like another video was warranted so we could discuss it at length, because it's just kind of blowing my mind a little bit. But no worries, I found actual footage from the car chase. Oh no, oh look, it's so bad. Oh no. You guys, there's no car chase. This is so ridiculous. What a waste of time and effort and everything else. I have so many points to make, but I do want to start out with the biggest elephant in the room, which is what you guys so clearly brought up, which is Harry has begun it's his second legal case against it's over personal security when he returns back to the UK. It's more nonsense of him saying that he needs the special protective security when visiting. After stepping down from his position, he thinks he still deserves the perks that come right along with it, right? He has no problem taking those. He doesn't mind calling the whole institution racist, but he doesn't mind taking the perks. That seems to be a page out of their playbook, right? So coincidentally, while that was going on, huge coincidence, right? They get into this, well, according to them, 2-hour car chase that could have had, what did they say? Catastrophic consequences. Okay, drama queens. Okay, settle down. So many things I talked about in yesterday's video. If you didn't watch that, go back and watch it. But that, again, you guys shed light on. And one of the questions I had is, why the F would you get out of a black SUV with the what is it, the mirrored windows, whatever, where you can't see, the blacked out windows, so you can't see inside, and to get into a cab? And I can't believe the answer was right in front of me, and you guys so succinctly pointed out, it's so they can get photos of this. Oh my God. They're so worried about protection, they decide to go into a vehicle that makes them way more vulnerable, and you can clearly get photos inside. So then they can say, look, the paparazzi were following us. Ugh. And I do believe I talked about, of course, they're going for the Diana comparison. So there's that. People have pointed out that even the photographs that were taken, they were doing things to bring up, to invoke the Diana reference, right? So it was all a tug at the heartstrings, all a ploy to make themselves look better, and just total BS nonsense, as per usual with those two. Look, guys, more footage from the chase. Oh no, what are they gonna do? Oh, oh no, they're in clear danger. It's Fast and Furious. Oh my God, you guys, I had several of you reach out and say, by the way, that the ad that played before you watched the supposed car chase stuff was a Fast and Furious ad. I think that's hilarious. Of course. They're trying to get their name out there at the same time as Fast and Furious. Oh no, a 2-hour car chase. Oh, they're in danger. God, so much more to go over. So again, pointed out that by getting in the cab and being so easily seen and photographed, interesting that during this big scary car chase as seen above, they appear to not be wearing seatbelts. They appear to be relaxed and casual. Doria appears to nod off at one point. Those are all things you would do in a high-speed 2-hour car chase, right? Sure. All right. So much more has come out since this to call BS on it, right? So the cab driver have since spoken out, and I did hear the interview on Piers Morgan. He really said it was not like they described. He was pretty nice about it, and he was like, yeah, they seem nervous, but it was not 2 hours. It was not, I think it was something like, he said, I wouldn't describe it as a car chase. Some people were taking photos of them. So New York Mayor Eric Adams calls it, quote, hard to believe while discussing the 2-hour car chase. Now, if you Google it, a lot of the media outlets are spinning it to say, oh, it's reckless and dangerous. But it's trying to paint the narrative, oh, poor Harry and Meghan. But if you listen to what he says, he's calling it nearly impossible. How do you have a 2-hour car chase in New York City? You don't. Other thing that, again, you guys are so wonderful in the comments. Thank you for everybody who took the time to write me. I really read them all. I love your comments. You had such interesting thoughts on all of this. I had so many of you that actually live there in New York City, and you talk about it's not that big of a deal to see a celebrity there. They're all over New York City. There are blacked out SUVs everywhere. It's just not something that people freak out about. So they're spinning this story as if they're perhaps in LA still or something, but it doesn't make sense what they're saying about, paparazzi and chasing them for 2 hours. Just again, none of it makes any sense, right? So I want to circle back to the IPP thing. When Jay and I made the video yesterday, we thought that it was a play on King Charles, like, give us more money, Pa. And I still do believe it has to do with that too. Feel sorry for us, Pa. But again, you guys so brilliantly pointed out, no, it's bigger than that. It's trying to get IPP status. So when you look up what that actually means, let me read this to you because it's eye-opening. Being an IPP is essentially a free ticket to receive automatic state bodyguards almost anywhere in the world. Any signatory to the United Nations Protection of Diplomats Convention is duty-bound to prevent attacks on the person, freedom, or dignity of a visiting internationally protected person. Oh, what's that, Harold and Fraud? You want a big old blank check for your security whenever you're visiting anywhere and feel like you need protection? Okay, great. I know you said you wanted privacy and you stepped away from it all, but you still want the perks, huh? Sure. Sold out, well, both of your families to make an assload of money. But you don't want to use your own money on this. Instead, you want what, the taxpayers to pay for it? Cool. Yeah, it's just complete and utter bullshit. I wish they could go down for false police reporting, that kind of stuff. I've been told that there are cameras on every corner of New York, so can't they pull the footage and see that it's utter nonsense? Even the police came back and said, basically, that doesn't really match up with what we're hearing. So it's just utter bullshit, more of the same, just turned up, I guess. I just feel like, we thought yesterday, we kept saying, oh, that means some news is coming out and they're trying to distract. But no, now I think it's just more about keeping themselves in the news and painting themselves as victims, their favorite thing to do, and to try to get freebies off of, all of us. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat for a minute. I don't love to go super conspiracy theory, but I'm gonna for a second and say, if you just do a quick Google search of Harry and Meghan, this is the kind of bullshit that pulls up. It's all being compared to the tragedy that, occurred with Diana. And I have my own thoughts on that. You can go back and listen. I talk about it a lot. I believe in revenge and stuff. We don't need to rehash it here. Regardless of what you believe happened with Diana, it's fine. It ended in tragedy. I think we can all agree on that. And so they're playing on that bullshit. And they're feeding this narrative of, oh, the paparazzi chased her and now they're chasing us, to try to make us feel a certain type of way. And I don't know, put them back in our good graces. I think it's the lowest of the low to trot out your mother again, what happened with that, to try to get publicity and a paycheck for yourselves. They are the most disgusting, evil people. And the media just plays right along with it. What else could you possibly expect, right? Again, I'm not trying to go too tinfoil hat here, but I'm just telling you, it's disgusting to watch. Luckily, I found this wonderful group of people that totally see through the bullshit along with me. And I'm just so thankful to have you all here and to be able to talk to you about this stuff, because it's gaslighting like I've never seen. And I hate that word, but it is. They're gaslighting us. They're just like feeding us all this bullshit. And it's cracking me up how many, the sugars are buying it hook, line, and sinker. And oh, poor Harry and Meghan. Poor Harry and Meghan, my ass. I say poor police department that have had to deal with this bullshit when they're actually trying to be, they're trying to help actual victims of actual crimes in New York. They have to take time out to deal with this bullshit. I wish I'd get a big fat fine for it or something like that. Woo, we're taking a look at some funny memes and what Twitter's thoughts are on the car chase that wasn't, the made up story that's occupying so much space in my brain. Oh, you guys, it has been so funny to watch. I just want to show you some of the things trending on Twitter right now. Oh my goodness. So hashtag dumb prince and his stupid wife, hashtag wah, hashtag worldwide privacy tour, hashtag Harry and Meghan are finished, as well as hashtag Harry and Meghan Smollett. Let's take a look at what Twitter has to say about all this. Okay, so first off, @Jane9873 posted this. After a grueling and sometimes dangerous 2-hour car chase, the paparazzi finally managed to lose Harry and Meghan. You guys, that hit me so funny the first time I saw it. I've seen it a couple times now. I think this is so funny and so perfect. And I love the narrative that, yes, of course, they were chasing the paparazzi to try to get their pictures made. Royal Gossip posted, here's how to handle a near catastrophic car chase. 1. Calmly check your email like Doria. 2. Sit back and enjoy the publicity stunt with a smirk on your face like Meghan. 3. Record footage for your next documentary like Harry. Hashtag Harry and Meghan Smollett. HRH Queen Salty Duchess Regina posted, their team organized backgrid photographers to stage the failed Diana-like catastrophic nothing burger. This behavior is exactly why the UK got fed up with the flawed amateur dynamics involving Harry and Meghan Smollett. They are liars. Okay, Rags and Doggle posted this. Actual footage released by NYPD of Harry and Meghan Smollett pursued through the streets of NYC. Look at this, you guys. It is the Seinfeld episode where George is being chased on the electric wheelchair by the gang of older people that are trying to get him. And you can see they're going so slow, just normal pedestrians walking by them at the time. Okay, so this person posts, it's taken a while, but how delicious is it to see America finally catching up to the Harkles? They lied about our royal family and karma is slowly catching up. I would say, ahem, excuse me, some of us Americans caught on pretty quick, but I get what you're saying. It is nice to see, not all, but some of the media finally catching on that these two are the worst. Okay, then Britannicus Maximus Brutus posts real honesty. This is the real statement by the Duke of Sussex. I love that. I love the sense of humor of whoever wrote this. Ready? Statement from the Duke of Sussex. Last night, the Duke of Sussex, his dear wife, the greatest woman to have walked the earth, Meghan. So obviously it's written like Spare is. Obviously it's her writing it. Duchess of Sussex and his mother-in-law, Miss Doria Ragland, were involved in a near catastrophic car chase that could have had disastrous consequences. Members of the press engaged in a near relentless pursuit of our car as they were returning home after attending the Miss Foundation Gala, where the Duchess of Sussex received a Women of Vision Award, a natural stepping stone toward the Nobel Peace Prize. Whilst it's yet to be determined who exactly was responsible for last night's events, the Duke and Duchess are confident that even though the incident occurred in New York City, the blame no doubt rests with the British people, though they're yet to figure out how. And then Shakma GPT posted the paparazzi chasing Harry and Meghan Smollett. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are the twins, of course, that are involved in the Smollett case. They're the ones that ended up turning him in, that it was him that had this staged. You know who they are. Anyway, amazing. They're saying these are the photographers chasing Harry and Meghan. You guys, Sarcastic Ninja, I love that name, posted this picture right here. It's so good. It's Harry, of course, with his lovely wife, Jessie Smollett. I love it. So it's Jessie's head on Meghan's body here. And then Mystified shared, it must have been so scary. Doria fell asleep. Why did she not share the good stuff with the kids? I'm thinking she probably did with Harry, because have you seen his face in a lot of these photos? Hashtag Harry and Meghan Smollett. And then I was sent this one. I wish I had the original author's name, but somebody made this, and it's so funny. It's The Chase That Never Happened, starring Duke and Duchess of Smollett. And it's a Jessie story for the press. It's so good. Look at both of their faces here. That perfectly sums up each of them. Oh my God, like over the top fake and I don't know, pissed and high. I'm not sure what his face is doing there. I was not prepared for this one. Ready? This one's by Northie and it says unreleased photo of Megsy and Miss Steinem from the awards dropped. And you've seen the picture of Meghan posing with Gloria Steinem. Well, look at this. They doctored it up a little bit. Oh my God, it's Ozzy. Oh my God. I don't know why this picture struck me so freaking funny, but it's perfect. I love it so much. Katie K in the Queen's Court posted the rumblings that H&M are staying with Gayle King in New York City. Could they be filming an exclusive? So I had actually heard rumblings of the same thing. I had not heard that they're staying with Gayle King. I just heard they're staying at a private residence. I'd read somewhere, it may have just been on Twitter or something, I can't even remember, but that, yeah, they were already in talks with Gayle to talk about this traumatic car chase. I just wonder, I mean, I wonder if she would still talk to them, but then I think, nope, they're all, I don't know what the word is. I don't know how to say it eloquently, jerking each other off. I don't know, helping each other out. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll all enjoy each other's 15 minutes. And then Nick Mitchell asks, are the Harkles on the kitchen floor today? Better call a wambulance. I don't think I've heard stories of Harry crying on the floor so much, but that seems to be all she's able to do. She sure cries on the floor a lot. Okay, and then this one was posted by @Megsy_0, and it says what Meghan wants versus what Meghan gets. Kate was hounded and harassed by paparazzi. No drama. Meghan Markle was followed by 2 photographers, and it was, quote, near catastrophic. And then she included this picture here with, of course, Catherine on the left and Meghan and Harry on the right. It's just crazy to see the difference. And in case you don't know, I actually did a video on this a little while ago, and it was showing a video of how Catherine was treated versus how Meghan was calling the paparazzi on herself. So definitely check that out. It's there in my videos. Smiler by name, Smiler by nature writes, quote of the day from Bill Stanton, former NYPD officer, quote, they're going as fast as me and I'm stationary. Hashtag worldwide privacy tour. Okay, the same poster posted, Diana died in an accident. Meghan Markle was just stuck in traffic jam because of a garbage truck. You guys, there's just so much ridiculousness coming out about these two. Lots to talk to you about. You guys, okay. So I did a deep dive on this New York trip a while ago. You can actually find this video right here. And if you go to my main page under the So Much Cringe tab, you'll see that video. It's easy to find, or if you just look up my channel name and New York, you'll see this video pop right up. If you know my channel at all, if you know me, I'm Jen, by the way, at all, you'll know that I'm obsessed with this trip. This trip was a disaster at every single leg. I mean, let me just refresh your memory. Okay, this was 2021. This was their first tour after leaving the royal family. And I'm using the words like that because nobody knew what it was, including Dumb and Dumber, Harry and Meghan. They didn't know what it was. They treated it like a royal tour, but they were no longer royal, so nobody knew what to do with them. They were just making these stops around New York and making complete and total, whats of themselves. This is where we got this outfit, one of the all-time worst I've ever seen, ever. We'll go into it, but just refreshing your memory on this trip. And again, check out my video if you want all the deep dives on all the things they got wrong on this trip, because so many things at every turn went wrong because they're idiots and they handled it just every wrong move you can make. Okay, funny to watch them scramble in hindsight, but they were scrambling because, again, this is their first gig outside the royal family, and they were pretending like they still, worked back then. By the way, when thinking about this and looking at these pictures, keep in mind that it was like 80 degrees, 26 degrees Celsius during this trip. And look how she's dressed. She's still getting the weather wrong. Why are we talking about this now? Okay, that's my question too. Daily Mail has this new article out that I find completely fascinating. And it says, Harry and Meghan are accused of trying to gag teachers and students at NYC school they visited in 2021 by prohibiting them from making negative social media posts now or in the future. Dun, dun, dun. I find this fascinating. It's not that it surprises me because of course they would do stuff like this. But again, in the video, I go into how they made every single wrong move that you could make. And we'll go into some of the details here, but now they're trying to silence people that were there so they don't speak up about it. Interesting, right? All right, we'll read a little more and then we'll discuss amongst ourselves. Here we go. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been accused of trying to gag teachers and students at a New York school they visited 2 years ago. The Duke and, I won't even say their titles, the idiots visited public school 123 Malia Jackson, which is among one of the poorest in New York City. Now keep that in mind because that's going to come up in September 2021. Meghan was dressed in a $5,000 suit and a Cartier watch. Or I don't know. I'm so mad I can't even think straight. I go over all the jewelry in the other video, but yeah, her coat cost, let me put the picture back up so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so as mentioned in the article, this is an area where the people are struggling. One of the statistics I found when putting together this video is that I believe it's 94% in the area. The kids depend on the school lunches. Okay. They said that there are 12 area shelters that the kids come from to go to the school. So keep that in mind while this idiot is cosplaying as the Joker and wearing this outfit that, again, let me just remind you, the coat, $5,840. The pants, $1,600. They estimated with her jewelry minus her engagement ring and clothes, she's at about $16,000 for this appearance. Around the time that her book was out, The Bench, and I almost slipped up and called it something else, but you know where my mind goes there with her. Okay, so she's reading her book to these kids. Again, this isn't the story, but I'm setting the stage. And these people have to sit here and take this crap from this woman who is just so tone deaf and unaware. And yes, her doofus husband was there too, and he's tone deaf and unaware as well. But here you go. Take a look at this. Again, totally fine. No, doesn't see the problem with wearing this to such an whatever you want to call it, this school where these kids are struggling. All right, let's pick back up with the article. Advisors from their foundation demanded, I won't say that name either, demanded the Harlem school sign a clause ban anyone from making negative comments, according to The Sun. The request was also related to any posts on social media now or in the future. So, okay. Once again, these two are making it about themselves. You're not allowed to talk bad about us. You're not allowed to talk about us now or in the future. Now, let me bring this up. Have you ever heard even rumblings of the royal family doing this as far as when they go to an appearance or go do a charitable event, whatever it is? This is not a charitable event that they were doing, but I'm saying something like that. When they go to do an event, have you ever heard of them making people sign NDAs to not talk about them in the future? No, I haven't either. Because if you act like a human being, you don't have to have people sign things like that. If you act like monsters like these two allegedly did, then of course you're going to have them sign things you're going to try to get people to sign things like that. And by the way, since we're talking about this anyway, I don't go conspiracy theory. It's just not my thing. I know some channels do. It's not my thing. Okay. But I am going to talk about something that comes up a lot when I talk about the story, because the story grosses me out so bad. I do talk about it a lot. And inevitably I get comments. So I'm just telling you what people tell me. I don't have this on fact. It's just something I've heard from quite a few other YouTubers and from you guys in the comments, which is allegedly those books were charged to, see, this is where I get confused. The way I've heard it explained to me, allegedly, those books were charged $5 a piece to these families who are struggling. I'm saying allegedly because I don't have this on fact. This is something I've heard from quite a few people. I would love to know the truth on that one. Let me know in the comments if you've heard the same thing. If that's the case, I would roast her ass. I would roast both of their asses over this, because that's so disgusting. You go there and read them your stupid book and try to move some stupid numbers of your stupid book, and you're going to try to charge them? I don't think so. They suck so bad. I actually hope this is not true. I hope so. I would hope they would have a little more class or dignity than that, but what am I thinking? The other thing I've heard, this is alleged, this is again a rumor. I don't know that it's true. It's just something I've heard I want to discuss with you all. I've heard about this NDA thing. I actually heard about it around the time I was reporting on it, and I don't remember if I mentioned it in my other video or not, that I had heard that this was the thing, because again, I don't like to go into things unless I feel pretty confident or have, sources that verify this stuff with me. So this is alleged, but allegedly, yeah, they got NDAs, and you know what they did? They didn't sign them. Now, I would like to know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's the case. That's another thing that I'm like, I wish some of these people would speak up, some of the people that were there or that were being asked to sign them. I'd heard something about that they had, was it a burning party or something where they burned the NDAs? I think it'd be funny if they burned the books personally, but anyway, whatever happened, it's just disgusting to me. But I find it interesting that this story is coming out now and that people are uncovering this stuff now, because I've been talking about this trip forever. Because again, every step of this trip, they did the worst things possible. And to me, this was like it's hard to pick a worst. This is one of the worst things I've seen because it involves kids. So the visit to this school was documented for their Netflix series. What a joke. Okay, we talked about that. How much she wore And see here in the article, it points out that 95% of the children are classed as suffering economic hardship. Freedom of Information requests have revealed how the couple's advisors at Archewell tried to protect their image. Good luck with that. Now, are these all the ones that have quit? Because I don't think anybody stays on that company for very long. It also It also highlights how their team banned 4 British newspapers from attending an event at the World Trade Center. Oh, I go into that too in the video I keep talking about. Again, I'm going to flash it up here on the screen. Definitely check it out because I go into that. They're horrible, horrible people. And if you're ever on the fence like, maybe they're not horrible people, and you don't think about, everything they did to the Queen and Prince Philip, I'd say, think about everything they did right after they left the royal family, because this is part of it. Okay, so it goes on to say that the plan for the trip began 6 months before the event. Again, so this is what I want you to wrap your head around. They're calling it this event, and the plans made 6 months in advance. This was not a royal engagement. This was not a royal tour. They were treating it like that, and the idiots, they were meeting with them, and I'm not talking about the school people. It's not their fault, but I'm saying like these government officials that were making time and meeting with them. I'm sorry, I'm still here. I'm just furious. We're treating it like a royal event, right? Everybody was still buying their BS at that point. Not everybody, not us, but you know what I mean? These officials. Anyway, so Archewell representatives emailed the Department of Education 3 days before the visit. They requested the appearance release, which included the gagging clause, and asked them to run it by their lawyers. Another email from NYC Schools press secretary had asked for the best way to get it all agreed, but is not clear if the Sussex's request was signed. See, this is why I have to say allegedly. I've heard exactly this, but I'm not positive. It's my opinion. I don't think it was. And I'd heard things like people refused and they were pissed off. Rightly so. So again, this was all being orchestrated. The dumbasses were working on a press release to get this information out there. Like, ooh, we went to the school. Look, we're good people. They're terrible people. So the education, whatever I said that was, they wanted to remove the reference to the bench and said, quote, just wanted to make it a bit less promotion-y. Then the article wraps up by saying Daily Mail has tried to contact them for comment, no word yet. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this is all BS. I don't know why this is coming out now, but I think it's fabulous that it is. When I say it's all BS, I mean they are BS. I think it's fabulous that it's coming back out. I don't care if this was 2 years ago. I don't think we should forget about it. And I think we should remember their terrible behavior. So when we see them on stage, grabbing mics and trying to accept awards and get their names out there, we should remember this. And remember how they acted. And I'm lumping both of them together because they both suck. But by the way, Michelle Obama had just worn this previously, or before Meghan went and did this. So in my other video, I talk about how she's cosplaying Michelle Obama. Notice the placement of Michelle's belt high up and how Meghan likes to do the same thing. So I think she was cosplaying her to try to get it written up in the paper like, oh, look, it's the next Michelle Obama. That kind of thing. Anyway, I don't get political here. I don't want to discuss it, but I just think knowing Meghan like I do now, I think that's the comparison she was going for. Anyway, I'm glad this is coming out. I don't care if it's 2 years later. I don't know why people are bringing this out now, but bring it on. I'd say maybe this is the sign of the floodgates opening and people finally realizing, hey, these are awful people. Let's talk about it some more. And I'm like, hey, come sit next to me, drunk goose. Like, we'll have some cocktails and we'll talk about it. Believe me, I am down to talk about this stuff. I could go on for hours about this stuff because I'll never forget it. They're disgusting people. You guys, however, are wonderful people, and I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you all so very much. I wanted to have a conversation with you all. Actually, I want to sit in stunned silence and just stare at this and go, what the blank is going on? You guys, this was brought to my attention by some of you lovelies. Several of you let me know about this. And I didn't even pick up on it, and I am ashamed of myself for not catching it. I've done videos in the past, you can go find them, where I talk about how Meghan liked to cosplay as Diana, and I'll show you pictures of how they dressed or how she dressed like Diana, etc. We've talked about the perfume thing and how weird that is, that allegedly Meghan wore Diana's perfume on the first date. That really freaks me out too. So nothing surprises me anymore, but I don't know what this one surprised me. I totally missed this, and here we are. Yeah, so here, just take a look. Just take a look. The other one that I really want to talk about, you guys have been so thoughtful to let me know of in the comments, is this one. Look on the left. So these are dresses that are, I guess they were auctioned off, sold for millions. Okay. Dresses of Diana's. And believe me, I looked and looked for a picture of Diana in that dress on the left. I could not find it. But regardless, okay. So here's a dress of Diana's. Does it look familiar? You guys, what is going on? And I know, I'm so sorry. A lot of you commented when this video came out that it was like Diana's, but I didn't put it together. I didn't know which one you were talking about, and I didn't know of the existence of this dress until recently, so forgive me. But oh my gosh. And again, it's not even that this surprises me anymore, because we have a million examples, and as I just talk about this, they'll play in the background. But you guys, it's still happening. She's still going for that Diana comparison. Unbelievable, right? Crazy. Can you imagine having a personality so bad, so unlikable, that you feel the need to grift off your would-be mother-in-law's favor? And I don't know what's worse, honestly, that or being Harry and making his whole personality about the loss of his mother. Oh, you guys, it's so rare that I'm speechless, but once again, here we are. I'm speechless. I just felt like I wanted to get on mic. I usually have more of a planned out conversation, but I'm truly, I don't know, disgusted by these two. Talking about, of course, Meghan and Harry, not Diana, but I'm talking about disgusted by the two of them, and I think it's just made it all that much worse seeing their behavior at the Invictus Games and see them make it about themselves and trying to rebrand themselves, and yet still we have her cosplaying as Diana. I thought, again, we had sunk to an all-time low, but I really think this takes it lower. Again, no disrespect to Diana whatsoever. It's just about the two grifters, Meghan and Harry, and that they seriously have no original thoughts, and they can only tie themselves to Diana. I mean, we just saw him do this, right? When we watched the Heart of Invictus that came out on Netflix, he was talking to a bunch of, injured military men and women, and how does he relate to them? By talking about Diana. I just find that so bizarre. We don't see that from William, who went through the same things as Harry, and there's something wrong with the both of them. I know. I'm saying this like this is a new thing. I know, we know this, but it's got me riveted because we can still have moments like this to say, my God, what is wrong with these two? And I know you all feel it, but I'm asking a rhetorical question. Does anybody else get completely grossed out by just all the sexualizing Diana stuff? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the way Harry did it over and over in his book, talking about the cream, the way they talked about Diana when talking about fertility stuff. We see, I don't know. I can't. Even the idea that she possibly wore her Diana's perfume on the first date. I cannot with this stuff. It's so gross. I get so grossed out by this, and they just have no shame about it. I don't know if I gotta wonder, is it that they think we're all so stupid we won't pick up on it? Or is it that I don't know. I think I keep going back to Dum Dum's book, Doofus's book, Spare. he kept talking about Meghan's stardust, and it was actually referred to in some of the other books we read. I believe it was Tom Bower's book. Again, I read a lot of books. I get them confused. It may have been Valentine Love's book, but I think it was Tom Bower, where they thought Meghan had Diana's stardust and talked about that. And Tom Bower points out that, and actually so did Valentine Lowe, author of Courteous, that it was their Australia trip, their horrible, the height of the horrible behavior, where they thought they were rock stars. And the reason I bring that up is because from everything I've read, it's my opinion that they really thought they were rock stars and that they were so popular and loved. Of course, they were totally unaware of the real picture of what was going on. And it was also during that time that we heard of Harry believing Meghan had Diana's stardust. And I know that's so weird to keep saying, but it's been said so many times. I've read that so many times. It freaks me out and sticks with me. That is such a bizarre thing. I know I love Catherine. I love my Catherine. I know I might be standing up for her here, but I don't care. I will. It's my right. It's my channel, right? But I feel like sometimes Catherine will give Diana nods with her outfits. We'll see, subtle hints of things, but with Meghan, it's different. Look at this outfit, for example. Okay, at first glance, it's like, okay, it's a nod, maybe a more modern silhouette, whatever. I don't know, more updated look. But when you really think about it, Diana had a see-through moment, and then Meghan, of course, had a see-through moment. So it's more than just a nod. It's straight up copying Diana, and it's so weird. I find it so bizarre, and then it just all came rushing back to me. So I wanted to jump on mic and record more thoughts about it as I see that it's still happening. I don't know why I expected differently, but it is clearly still happening, because here we are in the more present, where Meghan is still cosplaying as Diana. And so I don't know, I felt compelled to jump on mic and talk about the ick of it all, because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling icky about it. But again, imagine having no personality of your own. Everything is a con. Everything is grifted from somebody else. So why not Diana, right? I guess. I don't know. We are revisiting Heart of Invictus. So I just put out earlier a video recapping this where I was deliriously tired. I went through my overview of thoughts. I went into each episode and really kind of talked about everything. And since recording that, people have chimed in. I've gotten so many amazing comments from you guys I want to talk about and highlight. And then I want to talk about the reviews that are coming in, because their people are hard at work trying to keep their numbers good, while the rest of the people are starting to speak up about how bad this thing is. So I can't wait to talk about all of this with you all. Thank you so much for being here. Honk, honk, everybody. So right out of the gate, I want to say a huge thank you. Thank you to each of you who took the time to write me the nicest things on my recap of this thing. I just am blown away by your kindness. Yes, I had some trolls, but it's fine. I will tell you, Harry and Meghan's people are out in full force on this thing. They do not want people, honestly, or negatively reviewing this. So I definitely had some troll comments, but you guys are amazing and brilliant, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I just can't tell you how much your comments mean to me. Okay, moving on. There are a couple of comments I would like to highlight, starting with this one here. Thank you, Victoria, for taking the time to explain this. As I replied to Victoria in my delirious state, I don't feel like I could correctly explain this. So let me read this comment to you. And again, well summarized, well explained, Victoria, with a lot of people chiming in and saying, yes, this is what they've heard as well. Ready? So Victoria says, Invictus Games is a worthy initiative gifted to Harry by the British royal family. When he said he wanted to do a version of the Warrior Games, his allocated team made it happen, not him. This should be about the veterans, not Harry, Archwell, and therefore the Harkles are profiting from the games. This is disgusting. However much money has been spent to this vanity piece would have been better spent on the game's athletes, not the whinging Montecito multimillionaires, nor Netflix. Harry sold his soul to the devil to profit off the less fortunate. This is not service, it's racketeering. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for explaining that better than I could. And that's what I was alluding to. That's basically, again, I wish I could remember which book. I believe it was Cordia's, where he went into that kind of a version of this. It was, again, it's alleged, but it was something that the royal family did to keep Harold otherwise occupied, right? They had the right people set it up, and that's how it came about. Regardless, I totally agree with you. I think you make such a good point. Thank you for explaining this, because I had people heated in the comments like, you can't take it away from him. Well, it's got a board, right? So I've heard of things like that. You can oust people from a board, and I did put up a video 2 days ago where Angela Levin kind of talks about the same thing. Not so much of the board, but more of, it looks like they're trying to get these two ousted from the next year's games. So fingers crossed, right? Then I want to call attention to this comment. Thank you, Jennifer, for this. You don't know the laughs it gave me. Harry can't stop giving speeches. What else could we use him for? I believe that's something, I was delirious. When I recorded, I said something along those lines. Seriously, because that dude, every 5 minutes, they have 3 to 5 minutes, they have him give him a speech in this thing. So Jennifer came up with a list of ideas of what we could use him for. You ready? A hat stand, a doorstop, a scarecrow, a cautionary tale. You don't know the laugh this gave me. I love the list that you came up with. If anybody else has ideas of what we could use Harry for, leave them in the comments below, because this is a lot of fun. Okay, but Jennifer goes on to explain, basically, he's bitter, self-righteous, and entitled, and he makes good fodder for a Shakespearean play. Thank you so much for this, Jennifer. Well said. Again, thank you for the laughs. Okay, I got a lot of comments like this one saying, hey, what's with talking about, like, you don't want to spoil it, and can you spoil it for us, that sort of thing. Okay. I think, again, in my deliriousness, I used the wrong term. It's not, there's nothing really to spoil. I think what I was trying to say and what I meant was, I don't want to get her story wrong. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I can only tell you what's been presented to me. But what's interesting about, and I'll get into it, what's interesting is I've had so many comments kind of opening my eyes to the situation a little more. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is Yulia. She's easily the most riveting person in this docuseries. When I said about the spoilers, what I meant is I don't want to tell her story wrong. It's not that I want to give Harry and Meghan, people took that very literally, like, don't give them the views. Don't worry, I don't want to either. It's not that. I'm not saying go watch it for yourself. I'm saying I don't want to spoil this woman's story. I want you to read about her because it's so interesting. But I've also learned so much from you guys in the comments as well that I didn't realize. So let me talk about it. Yulia is a paramedic / ambulance driver for the Ukraine, and she's helped a lot of wounded soldiers. It sounds like she even helped people as they're recovering get involved in Invictus games. So again, very interesting story there. Okay. When you look into Yulia, and again, I learned this from you guys, this is crazy. I'm just going to read you what Wikipedia says, so that way we stick to the story that's going around, and then you can make up your mind about what happened. So it says in 2021, she received a body camera to take part in, this documentary series being produced by, Dum Dum. She used the body camera to document injured civilians and soldiers in the Ukraine. Before February 6th and March 10th, she recorded 256 gigs of video in a thumbnail-sized data card. Okay. So it shows her and her angels, the people helping to provide medical treatment to Ukrainian civilians, as well as Russian soldiers during the siege of this area. All right. So on March 15th, she was able to smuggle this card through Russian checkpoints. So, okay, I'm dancing around it. Here's what's being alleged. Allegedly, she was there to try to help Harry slash the Archwell slash Netflix get more footage for this documentary about what was really going on, right? She was captured. She was captured by Russia and tortured, and it's hard to talk about, right? It's so touching. This woman is incredible, and I'll tell you, she survives, and she is tough as nails, and this amazing woman. But if this is even more than speculation, if this is even kind of true, that it's because of this that she was put in this situation, what I'm saying is if it's because of being sent back to get more footage for this documentary, that it was during that time allegedly that she was captured. Nobody disputes that she was captured. It's just about, there's just talk about if it's because she was sent back for footage for this documentary. Anyway, if it has anything to do with that, that adds a layer of disgusting, I gotta find a new word, evil of, I would say, Harry and Meghan slash Archwell slash Netflix for truly endangering somebody to try to get more footage. It's awful. It's horrible. And it broke my heart when I read that, and when you guys connected the dots for me on exactly what had happened there, because of course the documentary doesn't go into that part. It's more that I was kind of skipping through parts, but if I remember correctly, it was like she had gone home to try to help because of the invasion that had happened, and it was during that she was captured, not that she was sent back with this body cam for bonus footage. Let that sink in. Since that's what's being alleged there, that she was sent back with this body cam, and during that time she was captured. Oh God. Okay. It was this storyline that they decided to stick Meghan into. Again, I went into how they basically edited Meghan out, and I've had a lot of reports on that too, saying they really had to go through and Meghan tried to make herself front and center allegedly throughout this docuseries, whatever, and Netflix really had to go through and scrub her out of that. And I agree, I can see it because she's barely in the thing, thank goodness. But the part she is in, it had to do with this woman's story, and that's what made me feel ill, because you're rooting for this woman and hearing this horrible story of her and what she went through when captured, and then they fly her daughter in, since she's captured during this point. They fly her daughter in to train for the Invictus in her place, and this is when Meghan cuts in and gives a speech. You know what I mean? Like, it's not funny, but it's like so gross. I can't help but laugh because of course she's going to make this about her. All right, let's change gears and talk about the reviews / ratings that are coming in on this thing. And now, again, it's only been out for a little bit at the time of the recording, so it's going to ping pong around a little bit. So the numbers will probably look different when you look at it. But at the time of this recording, it has a 6-star, 6 out of 10 review on IMDb with about 73 people that have chimed in. Okay, I'm going to start out with this reviewer who gave it a 10 out of 10. And let me tell you, this is my opinion, why I think it's Meghan and Harry's people. Shocking, right? They'd cheat or lie about something? No, they've never been known to do that. The reason I think this is because there are reviews like this popping up. And I'm not even going to bore you with all the details. It goes into what a heartfelt documentary it is. And it is a heartfelt documentary. Too bad those two have to ruin it. But there's a specific line in here that says, please ignore the hateful reviews. It has nothing to do with the documentary, but more to do with the bigotry, irrational hate, the ist words they love to throw around, and classism against Meghan, and extends to Harry. So do you see what I'm saying? No. Okay. People that are actually reviewing this documentary aren't going out of their way to say that, I just don't believe it. I don't. It's her people saying this. And again, it's a Meghan tactic. Instead of people actually being able to say, hey, they kind of ruined this documentary. It's, oh, you didn't like it because of Meghan, because of the ist words she loves to throw around, misogynist, racist, all the stuff that she loves to throw around. So nobody can have an opinion different from them, because if you do, you're called the ist words. That's where I'm going with that. So it's bullshit. Reviews like this are bullshit. If you want to like it, fine. It's not up to me. You can like it. I get it. Again, the people are absolutely riveting. It's just the two idiots, they keep inserting themselves, that I have a problem with. But I have a problem with reviews like this because I do feel like every time I refresh it, another one like this pops up that's trying to silence any criticism by throwing around those ist words. And again, I point back to that's what Harry and Meghan like to do. If you don't agree with them, it's not that you have any valid points or that they could possibly learn from anything. It's that your whatever ist word they choose is trendy at the moment. All right, let's get on to the more realistic one, shall we? This one gave him a 1 out of 10, and it's by Smith & Co., and they called this one Pass on This Pile. You ready? This is nothing but propaganda put out by Meghan Markle and Harry's people. It is produced by them to be an advertisement for them. Meghan Markle took a cut of the money for her wardrobe and styling rather than where the money should have gone straight to the vets themselves. Harry is clueless, is this written by one of you guys, and is using this program to pitch himself to give speeches. I could not stick with the show because Harry kept popping up to tell us all of his struggles. As soon as they are removed, I'm happy to support the event. Until then, I can find more worthy causes. If this cause was so important to Harry and Meg, why would she take money for the appearance? Why not pass it on to the soldiers? Despicable, the both of them. Whoa. Well said. Was that one of you guys? Well said. I love it so much. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are saying the same things in the comments. There's something I wanted to address here. Let's see. Harry popped up and kept talking about his struggles, and happy to support them when they're removed. And yeah, that is a good point about why take the money for the appearance. Why not pass it on for the soldiers? And I've heard, I gotta say allegedly again because it's not confirmed, but I've heard the same stories you have about all the money that was spent on outfits and stylists or whatever, hair people, all the things. Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. All right, this one's called Horrible in Every Way. And it says, I feel for the vets. I don't care for Harry or his sob stories. Garbage show. He ruined it. Remove him from it. There's nothing that we learned that we didn't already know. Harry harps on about his mommy issues and his Oedipus complex. Why is something that's supposed to be amazing ruined by this clown? Why wouldn't we just have the vet stories? Why do we need Harry's wah fest? So pathetic of Netflix. I guess Netflix has to make good on their millions of dollars they spent on him and his sociopathic wife. Harry never set up Invictus. It was made by the palace, and they gave Harry the role of presenting it. He really has no skills or talent, so this is the best they could do. Make him the face. Wow. Again, was this one of you guys? Amazing. Brilliant. Yeah, exactly what we've been saying. All right. This person also gives it a 1 out of 10 and says Harry makes it about Harry. So many speeches about family and service throughout the episodes. What business do Harry and Meghan have speaking about either of those things? It would have been great had they both been edited out. So much for privacy. We want privacy. The servicemen and women are great with interesting stories, but the documentary wouldn't let us get invested in Hey, I said the same thing. It wouldn't let us get invested in those because we had Harry speaking up about his past and his struggles every 3 minutes. The grifters just continue to grift and play victim. It's all they know how to do at this point. It makes sense. It makes no sense that they're still involved in the project and only detracts from the actual survivors. Well said. So I'm not going to keep reading them, but I am going to flash them on the screen while I talk. So if you want some laughs, definitely go take a look at these because, again, people are having more and more to say. You can tell that her people / the Sugars are trying as fast as they can possibly type, although it's a little bit more well written than what I've seen from the Sugar, so I don't think it's the Sugars, but her people are trying to keep the IMDb score up, and it's rapidly declining because of, again, more people being honest in the comments. But again, if you try to speak out against these two, there is no reasoning. It's just you're, throwing horrible accusations. Anyway, they're taking pages out of Meghan and Harry's playbook. Hey, we're talking Harry and Meghan. And don't you worry, we are not traipsing all the way back through this thing. Once is more than enough. And in case you missed it, I actually recapped the whole series. It was dreadful. I want that time back. I was actually mad while recapping it, but that's neither here nor there. The reason I'm talking about it today is because I've been working on a series, So Much Cringe, you've seen it, where I go back over and talk about reviews given to different projects by, well, these two yahoos. So I thought, let's revisit Harry and Meghan. And I thought we could look at some behind the scenes stuff and talk about critical reception, and then go into my personal favorite part, user reviews on it. Don't worry, they won't disappoint. They're hilarious. So let's jump right on in. So again, I'm not really going to go into the details of this. I'm laughing because it says documentary, but it's more of a mockumentary, because I've done that. And again, go back and watch those videos if you want to see it. But just a reminder, the original release on these things was December 8th and December 15th. They did 2 volumes, 3 one-hour episodes each. I want that time back. It was so bad. It was so bad. And it's not just because I can't stand these two. I actually thought maybe we'll get some entertaining stuff. I knew they'd be full of shit, but I thought maybe at least I'll be entertained some, or I'll see some photos I haven't seen, or hear a story I haven't heard, but that's a big fat nope. It is a 6 whatever hour wine fest. Oh, just awful. Anyway, we'll get into it. So the deal for this thing is said to have been signed around September 2020. And there were different reports on how much the deal was for, but it sounded like it was a big fat check for all involved. So you can get different figures from anywhere on the web, depending on who you look at. So it's going to be a ballpark, but I'm getting my numbers from Forbes. They are reporting that they signed, it was about $100 million contract to produce. It was signed in September 2020 to produce documentaries, docuseries, feature films, scripted shows, and children's programming. So I've heard all the same things you have. I've heard that they're done with Netflix. I've also heard that they will no longer be in front of the camera at Netflix. They will be producers. I'm not in Hollywood. I don't know how it works. From what I've heard on that is if money's involved, you slap your name on things and call yourself a producer. I don't know. It's just what I suspect. But again, this is just me speculating. But no official word on any projects coming out with Netflix. I keep hearing rumblings that something else is coming out, but then I can't find any official evidence of it. So I guess we'll just wait and see. For my sanity, I hope not. But, if they put something else out, we'll make fun of it. We're going to get into the, critical reception as well as just user reactions because it's pretty hilarious. Just some reminders, of course, that obnoxious curtsy. I did a whole video on that, so definitely go watch that. Happened in this. There was some discussion because things were weird, meaning originally people thought this was their house, but then later it was reported no, they sat down. It was another mansion in Montecito. I believe it's either now on the market or just sold, something like that. So, yeah, lots. Again, do you expect the truth out of these two? I certainly don't. The thing that strikes me is just so much crying and whining. It was unbearable to watch. It was a time suck like I've never had before, and I was just mad when I was taking notes because, like you see in front of you, this is mostly what you got. Meghan crying for the camera. That girl is not able to stand up and cry. She just sits on the floor and cries throughout. She's in I'm serious. The same documentary. You see it here. She's sitting on the floor crying. She's sitting in her closet crying. She's sitting on a chair crying. She's sitting on a chair by an expensive blanket crying. That's all she can do in this damn thing. is a lot. And then Harry's just mad and confused as per usual. And then you just stop and think, why is she crying again? What is going on? Is it like, I feel like you've heard of cult, right? Where they make you so tired you just can't think straight. I felt like that's what was happening with this documentary. Like, however, 6 hours of this bullshit, and I'm supposed to just be like, oh, okay. Yeah, you had it really hard. You know what? I give up the will to live. So, yes, you suffered. But then she'd switch into this smirky, whatever, like smug face. Smug. Let me try again. Smug. And it's just like, oh my God, you're no victim. What am I watching? What's happening? I want my life back. Now she's crying in a car. I forgot about that too. Make it stop. Okay, so when you start looking at critical reviews, I mean, they're all pretty much the same. It tends to be rated around a 5 out of 10. I think they're being generous. I think they don't want to rock the boat too much is my guess. But NPR here saying it's a thumb down. You know what's funny? Even, what's that? Variety, one of the ones that worked with Meghan in a stupid-ass photo shoot. Remember where she wore the comforter dress? They even said it just rehashes the same drama. They called it a rerun, basically. Daily Mail calls it, an exhausting endurance test. Yeah, I would agree with that. And then it calls it cringeworthy as well. Yeah, also agree. Guys, have we mentioned the crying? There's so much crying. Doesn't that sway you? No, it doesn't. It actually makes it way worse. Okay, so I came over to IMDb, and I thought we could take a look at some of the reviews from, the users. It's listed at 5.1 out of 10 as its rating, and let's read some of these reviews. First, I thought it'd be funny to take a look rapid fire at some of the titles of the reviews that people have left, and then we'll get into the reviews themselves. Here we go. I love this one. The heir, the spare, and the struggling actress over there. Self-serving drivel masquerading as a righteous crusade. Horrible demonstration of privileged people who can't get enough. 1 out of 10. Under love story cover, goal is to damage William and Catherine. 1 out of 10. Flimsy relationship with the truth. 1 out of 10. Huge disappointment. These are all 1 out of 10s. I don't have to say it every time. Huge disappointment. Kardashians Royale. Recollections certainly can vary. Yes, they can. Check out my merch. Recollections may vary. I like this title. It just says, oh dear, with a million exclamation points. Would you like some cheese with that wine? Uninspiring and tone deaf. Super boring snooze fest. A boring, unoriginal fantasy. Is it a mockumentary? Dumpster fire. That's what I'm going to call my memoir, by the way. Dumpster fire. All right, let's get into some reviews, shall we? This one is, they just can't help themselves, can they? Drawn like a moth to a car crash. Okay. I just knew my poor throat would suffer if I watched this self-indulgent twaddle. And sure enough, mere minutes in, and I'm shouting at the screen. I could have written this. That sounds like something I would say. That's hilarious. You guys, this one's called an Actress and a Broken Boy. Having watched the first 4 episodes, I'm left even more baffled than I already was. A bit like watching someone's holiday photos for 3 hours. Spoiler alert, this doesn't contain anything other than 1,000 photos of 2 people's personal lives and a whole lot of inane twaddle. Some of it is nicely shot, but it feels very cheap and way too personal. In some ways, it's a bit like watching the visual representation of what someone might discuss with their therapist. It's possible that the next batch of episodes might be more substantive. I can spoil alert that and say they're not. But I'm not sure I can bring myself to watch them. It kind of feels like Harry and Meghan have one story and they just keep repackaging it. Ding, ding, ding. If Netflix truly spent the amount stated in press on this, then they've been taken for a ride. No wonder they were so desperate to use the royal trip to the U.S. for free advertising and release it this side of the holiday season. Absolute garbage. This is very different from the rest of Netflix documentaries. The other side is not given a voice. And the couple keeps failing to build up a solid case in regards to the, quote, racism. They keep mentioning words like agenda without explaining what those agendas are. How did Meghan experience racism is not explained. Who was racist toward her is not mentioned. How was the press, I can't keep saying that word, toward her when there weren't a single article talking about her skin color? They just keep saying they moved to the US because they want privacy, yet go on to share intimate details, images of their kids, video of their daily walking around the beach, when the rest of us were forced to quarantine. Exactly. Thank you. This is so well written and so well said. That's exactly what I thought too. Nothing given to the other side. It's only their story, and they throw out these claims hoping that people will just be pissed, but not wanting them to do any digging whatsoever, because if you do, you'll find that there's no backing up these claims. There's no more information, and usually there's some sort of lie attached to it. Okay, this one's called We Are Victims and Have No Accountability. I was prepared to give the benefit of the doubt and wanted to see what their story would entail. Basically, they just blamed everyone for what they see as a horrible time living in a small home in palace grounds. Meghan being compared to Diana. What? No mention of what they might have done to warrant any reaction the royals might have had towards them, i.e., that they were horrible to staff. Name dropping and being there when texts come through from William and Beyonce, all in 3-minute segment, just one-sided whinge fest. Laugh out loud moment was when someone mentioned they were social justice icons. Really? Huge disrespect shown to the Queen with the exaggerated curtsy. Don't bother watching. Okay, let's leave off on a funny one. Pure comedy gold. Easily the best satirical mockumentary I've watched in decades. The bad acting, the fake drama, the out-of-context footage, the vomit-inducing pet names, step-aside Spinal Tap with these two, while these two curtsy their way into our hearts. Netflix deserves a big thank you for making this original comedy possible on such a shoestring budget. Only $100 million to put this masterpiece together? We all needed that laugh to help us forget the real hardships and challenges the world has been dealing with since 2020. H&M, thank you so much for letting us have a laugh at your expense. Pure comedy gold. Well, guys, we're going to leave that there. That was a lot of fun to revisit. And also it brought back PTSD. Ooh, I'm shivering. So much time wasted on that thing. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Future Jen back again just to say Happy New Year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this mega compilation. There was so much more I could have included. They had such a bad 2023, but I'm here to see how they mess up 2024, and I'll continue to call it out. Thank you guys for being here. All the love and support. It means the whole wide world to me. I hope you have the best day and the best new year. Take care. Bye-bye.